Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So here today we are going to be looking at the sums. So how do you add? So looking at the summation, you have the summation of the 60th term where I is equal to 1. So we have I squared plus 1. So how do you do this one? So you are adding. So that means to say you are adding from 1. This means from 1 to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 6. So that means to say you are going to add your 1 squared plus 1. Then the next one will be plus. The second number that will be put is a 2. So we have 2 squared plus 1. Like that, we have 3 squared plus 1 until we reach 6, plus your 4 squared plus 1. Then we have plus 5 squared plus 1. Then we have plus 6 squared plus 1. This means 1 squared is 1 plus 1, that's 2, plus 2 squared is 4 plus 1, that's 5, plus 3 squared is 9 plus 1, that's 10. Then we have 4 squared is 16 plus 1, that's 17, plus 5 squared is 25 plus 1, that's 26, plus 6 squared is 36 plus 1, that's 37. So from here, what we are going to do is that we are going to be adding the numbers. So how do you add the numbers? So we are going to add, like we have this is direct. We have our 26. I want to look at the easiest way of adding this, but let's just go direct. So we have 26 plus the 37. That gives us a value that will be equivalent to. So let's add 5 plus that. It will give us 7. Then we have 10 plus 17. It will give us 27, plus the 26 plus the 37. This will give us so we have a 3 remainder 1, 2 plus this, that will be 5 plus 1, that will be a 6. So we have a 63. So 63 plus 7, 27, that will be a 90. So we have a 90 plus 7. This gives us a value of 97. So the summation for that will be 97. Let's move on. So there is another way, which is like this. The summation of 6i is equal to 1. Then we have I squared plus the 1. So there is a way of splitting. This can be split as the summation of 6i is equal to 1 for I squared. Then we have plus the summation of 6i is equal to 1, like that. Then we are going to have our 1 like that. So this gives us, so if we are to add this, it will be 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared, if we are replacing for this, plus 4 squared plus 5 squared. This gives us 1 squared is 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 plus 25, which gives us 9 plus 16 is 25 plus 25, that's 50. 50 plus 4, 54 plus 1, that will be equal to, or we have forgotten, plus the 6 squared plus, so 36. So it will be 25 plus 25, that's 50, plus 4, that's 54, plus 1, that would be 55. 55 plus the 36. This will give us remainder 1, 5 plus 3, that will be 8, plus 1, that will be 91. So we are going to have 91 for this. Then for 1, you can, this is the same as x to the power 0. So you are going to continue putting the 1. If you put it there, it will just be 1. If you put 2 until you reach 6, that will just be 1. So we are just going to multiply 6 times 1. It will be equal to a 6. So we have our summation of I is equal to 1 and until 6 for I squared, plus the summation of I is equal to 1 for 6 for 1 will be equal to, we are going to have 91 plus So 1, this is the same as having 1 plus, even if you were to use 1 times the 2, but x is to the power 0, that's how come it's not showing. So 1 will just repeat itself. So you can just multiply 6 times 1, it will be a 6 like that. So that's how come you can have 97. So whichever is easy for you. Let's look at the next one. It says that we have the summation of, where is it? We have the summation of I is equal to 1 and 5 there. We have I squared like that. So how do we add this? So the approach will just be the same. We have from 1 until we reach 5. So it will be, where there is I, we put 1 squared plus 2 squared until we reach 5 plus 3 squared plus the 4 squared plus the 5 squared, which gives us 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 plus 25. This gives us a value of 4 plus 1, that's 5. So here we have, already we have 25 plus the 25 is 50 plus 5, that will be a 55. So we have a 55 like that. Likewise, moving on to our next one, what are we going to have for our next one? So our next one will be equal to, we have the summation of, we have 47, I is equal to 6 for 4I minus the 9. So here you need to be critical. There is no way for you to move from 6. So this is the, you must know the summation type, by the way. So if you have like something like this, just not to say, mostly it is an AP. If it does not have the power, it is an AP. How do you find the sum of an AP? So let's just verify. So if we put 6 here, it will be equal to, so the first one, when we put 6, it will be our 4, where I is, we put 6, then we have minus 9. This will give us 4 times that, it will be 24, minus the 9, which will be equal to, what do we have? 15. So that will be our first term. So the sum of the first term is just the first term itself. So the next term will be our, when we put 7, which will be, where there is I, we put 7 minus 9. So 4 times 7, it will be 28 minus 9, which will be equal to the 19. Let's look at the last one. If we put 8, we are going to have 8 minus 9. This will give us, minus 9. So 4 times 8 will be equal to 32 minus 9. 32 minus 9 will be equal to 23, like that. So 19, the difference, see the difference. 19 minus 15 is 4. If you subtract 23 minus 19, the difference will still be 4, like that. So if the difference is 4, that means to say it is an AP. So with that said, all you need is to find you have the first term, you have the last term. So the sum of an AP, you need to find the last term. The sum of an AP should be equal to, we have the n over 2. There is one formula, which is A1 plus the last term, which is your AN. So this is one of the formulas that can be used to find the sum of the last term. Or should I say, this is the formula that can be used to find the sum of all the terms. So from the first to the last, as long as you know the first term and you know the last term, you are able to find the sum of the term. So knowing that this gives us the sum of all the terms, there's no way for us to be moving from 6 to 47. That would be a waste of time. But there are some things that you need to know, which are, So you need the first term, we have found it. We need the last term. So this is one of the formulas for the sum. So knowing that this is what we're going to use, what is our n value? So let's find the an. Now, one thing that you need to know is that, let's say you are looking at numbers from 1 to 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then you are asked how many numbers are here. So the numbers that are here, they are the 10 of them. Yes, it's straightforward. There are 10 of them. But how do you find using math? So you can tell that there are 10 numbers. You just subtract 10 minus 1. 10 minus 1, it will give you 9. Then whatever number you will get, add 1. So that means those are the terms there. Same as if you have from 1 to 5, you will have 5 numbers. So you subtract 5 minus 1, it will be equal to 4. You add 1 like that. This is very applicable. So you have, if you have 0 to 5, that means to say you have 6 numbers, because 5 minus 0 is 5 plus the 1. So that is how the numbering system works. It's not straightforward. So we are going to say our an should be equal to a plus our n minus 1, then times our d. What is our a1? A1, we found it to be 15 plus our number of terms. So we have from 47, is it from 47? From 6 to 47. So if you look at 6 to 47, we are going to say 47 minus 6. Let's write it properly. We have our terms. So we have the 47 minus 6, we add 1, which will be 47 minus 6 is 41 plus 1, that will be 42, which will be equal to, we have the 47, we are going to have, our n is 42, so we have 42 minus 1 times our common difference, we found it to be 4 like that. So this gives us a value that will be equal to 15 plus 42 minus 1, that will be 41. Then we have times 4. So 41 times the 4, it will be equal to 4 without a remainder. So we have 4 times 4, that will be 16. So we have 15 plus 164, which will give us 164 plus the 15. This gives us 4 plus 5, that will be 9. 6 plus 1, that will be 7. So we have 179 is the last term. Now, knowing that, we can easily be able to find the sum of an AP is n over 2 times 2a plus, sorry, not 2a, but our a1 plus our an, which is the last term. So we are going to have the n, there are 42 terms over the 2. Then our a1 will be equal to, we have a 15 plus the 179. This gives us a value that is equivalent to 42 divided by 2, that will be 41. Then we have our 15 plus, we have our 15, so 42 divided by 2 is 21. So we have 179 plus our 15, which will give us 4, remainder 1. 7 plus 1, that will be 8, then 9, we have 194. So we have 194 like that. So we are going to multiply 194 times the 21. This gives us 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 9, it is 9. 2 times, sorry, so we have 194. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 9 is 18 plus, so we have 18, 8 remainder 1, 2 times that, it is a 3. So adding this, we are going to get a 0 here. Oh, sorry, we are going to get a 4. 9 plus 8, it is 7. 1 plus this value, 1 plus 8 is 9 plus that one, it is 10. So we are going to have 0. The remainder is 1. 3 plus 1, that will be 4. So this will be our sum. So 4, 0, like that. So this is our sum of our numbers from I is equal to 6 to I is equal to 47. For the equation that was saying, what do we have? What was the equation saying? 4i minus 9. So we have 4i minus I. 4i minus 9. So that is the sum. Let's look at our next problem. So for our next problem, we have from so we have the summation of n is equal to 10. So we are not supposed to have n there, but I, for the equation that is says 4i. So same approach. So let's say we have something like this. What do we do? So that means we have, how many terms do we have? So the terms that we have 20 minus 10, which we add 1. So we have 11 terms. So those are the number of terms. So now we can add plus 10 plus that plus that plus that, and that would be a waste of time and we can make a mistake. So we are going to use the sum of an AP. So this is an AP, it doesn't have a power, so you can tell that there is a common difference. So if you verify, the first term will be times 10, which will be, okay, let's find our A1. So our A1 should be equal to, we have our 4i. So beginning at 10, so it will be 4 times 10, which will be equal to 40. A2 will be equal to, the I will tend to 11, so we have 4 by 11, which will be equal to 44. Likewise, our A4, our A3 should be equal to 4 times our 12, which will be equal to the 48. So this is our A3. Therefore, to find the difference, you will find that the difference will be your 40. You will find that your difference will be A2 minus A1. Your difference can also be A3 minus A1, like that, or A2, sorry. So the preceding terms, those that are following each other. So our A2 is equal to, we have our 44 minus our A1, which is our 40, which will be equal to, D should be equal to 44 minus 40. That will give us a value of 4. So our D should be equal to, in this case, our A3 is same 48 minus A2, which is 44. This is still going to give us a 4, like that. So this is our difference. So if this is our difference, so that is what we have. Therefore, knowing that, we can now find our sum should be equal to n over 2 a1 plus an. So our value an should be equal to a1 plus n minus 1 d. So we have, what is our a1? A1 is equal to, we have found a1 to be equal to 40 plus the number of terms. So we want the last term. So we have 11 minus 1 times our d is 4. So we have our a, the an will be equal to 40. So we have plus 10 by the 4, which will be 40 plus the 40, which will be equal to 80. So this will be our an. So an is equal to 80, like that. So if an is equal to 80, that means that we are going to have our sum should be equal to n over 2 times a1 plus our an. So what is our n is 11 over 2 times a1 is 40 plus an is 80, as we have answered. So we have 11 over 2, 40 plus 80 gives us a value that is equivalent to 120. So we cancel 120 divided by 2 is 60. So we are multiplying 60 by 11. That gives us 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 6 is 6. So if we add, we have 0, 6, 60. So we have the 660 like that. So we have the sum of that. So that means to say the sum from I is equal to 10 to 20 for the equation that says for I is equal to 660 like that. So this is how we do that. With that said, let's move on to our next problem. So if we have this, so if you're dividing numbers like this to some power, just know that it is not an AP, it can be a GP. Let's see. So we have our A1 for the for the equation that says 5i is equal to 0. We are going to have our 4 over the 5 to the power of I. We are going to have, what are we going to have? 4 over 5. So our first one will be 4 over the 5. Then I will be 0, which will be 1. So any number to the power 0 is 1, like that. Then the second term will be 5 over 4, then to the power 1, like that, which will be a 5 over 4 over 5. If we put 2, it will be 4 over 5 to the power 2, which will be 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. So this is probably a GP, because GP is equal to term number 3 over term number 2, or term number 2 over term number 1. So using the term number 3, it will be equal to, we have the 16 over the 25 divided by, we have our A2, which is a 4 over the 5, which will be 16 over 25 times 5 over 4. So this divided by this is 4, this divided by this is 5. So we have a 4 over 5, which is the same as if you were to divide A2 divided by A1. A2 is 4 over 5 divided by our A1, which is just 1. So this is a GP. So just by looking at it, you can tell the nature. So this is a GP, 5 over 4. So let's use, let's just add them normally. So we have something like this. So adding this normally would make us make a mistake. So you must identify. So if you have a number to the power something, just know that it is mostly a GP if there is no other number. So what are we going to do? So we are going to say this number, we are going to say if this is a GP, you must identify, is it an AP, is it a GP? So since it is a GP, we are going to say the sum of a GP, for which we are going to have something like our A, open brackets, 1 minus r to the power n, if you have your r, if your r is less than 1, which is 4 divided by 5 is less than 1. So we have over our 1 minus r. So this is the sum. So we have Sn should be equal to, the first term we found it to be 1. Then we have 1 minus, what is our r? Our r is 4 over the 5. Then to the power of how many terms? So from 0 to 5, remember, we have 5 minus 0 plus 1, which will be equal to 6. So we have power 6 like that, over. We have 1 minus, what is our r? It's 4 over 5. So our Sn should be equal to, 1 doesn't change anything, so we're just going to say 1 minus 4 to the power 6. What is 4 to the power 6? So 4 to the power 6 is the same as 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which gives us 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. 64 times the 4, this gives us a value of 6. Remember 1, 4 times 6 is 24 plus 1, that's 256. So from here up to here, it's 256. 256, we multiply this by the 4. This gives us 6 times 4 will give us a 4 remainder 2. 4 times 5 give us 20 plus 2, that will be a 2. Yeah, 20, that will be a 2. Then we have 8 times 4 times 2, that will be 8, plus 2, that will be 1000. So we have 1024. 1024 times a 4, this will give us, the last 4 will be 16. Remainder 1. 4 times this will be 8 plus 1, that will be 9. 0 times 4 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. So we have 4096. 4096, like that. Then for 5 to the power 6, we are going to have our 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 times 5 times 5, that's 125. Times 5, that's 625. 625 times the 5 times the 5, it will be, so 625 times 5, it will be, 5 times 5 is 5, remainder 2. 2 times 5 will be 10, that is 0, plus, or 10 plus 2, that will be 12, so 2, remainder 1. 5 times 6, it will be 30, plus 1, that will be 31. Then this multiplied by 5, it will be, 5 times 5 is 5, remainder 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2, it will be a 2, like that. Remainder 2, no, remainder 1. 5 times this will be 5, plus 1, that will be 6. 5 times 3 is 15. So these are the two numbers. So let's just lift this. So the sum of the 6 terms. So there are 6 terms there. We are going to have the sum of the 6 terms will be equal to 1 minus 4 to the power 6 is 4096 over 5 to the power, that is 15,000. What did we get? 15,625 over, the common denominator here is a 5. 5 divided by 1 is 5, times 1, that will be 5, minus 5 divided by 5 is 1, times 4, that will be a 4. So the sum of, there are 6 terms there, so we have 1 minus 4096 over 15,625. Then what we have is, we divide this by, so the over is the same as dividing by 5 minus 4 over the 5. This gives us, let's do this, we have 15,625 is the common denominator. 15,000 divided by 1, that will be this number, times 1, it will be 15,625, minus, we have 5, this divided by this is 1, times that, we are going to have 4. This, then we have divided by 5 minus 4 is 1 over the 5, like that. So what are we going to have? We have 15,625 minus 4,096. This gives us 15 minus 6 will be 9. So 11 minus 9 is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus this is 1. So this is the value we have. So we are going to take it as our, what's the value? 11,000. Okay, let me take it. So 11,259. 11,529, sorry. Then we are going to divide over, we have the 15,625. Then this division can turn into multiplication. The 5 will go up, so this is what we have. So 5 can be reduced, so we have 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 divided by 6 is 1. Remainder 1. 12 divided by 5 is 2. So we are going to write our 2 like that. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So this is the value, which is 11,000. So we are going to have 11,000 like that. 529 over our 3,125. So this is the sum for what letter were we using? Sum for I is equal to 0. I is equal to 0. 5, 4 over 5 to the power of I, like that. So basically that is how we solve that one. So if you want, you can do it just adding the 4 over 5 to the power 0 plus the until you reach 5, 4 over 5 to the power of 1 plus the 4 over 5 to the power of 2 plus the 4 over 5 to the power of 3 plus the 4 over 5 to the power of 4 plus the 4 over 5 to the power of 5, then plus the 4 over 5 to the power of 6. This will still give you the same answer, but the problem is that you can make a mistake. This is 4 over 5, so to the power 0 is just 1, sorry. So we have 1 plus, this will be 4 over 5, plus 4 to the power 2 is 16 over the 25, plus 4 to the power 3 is a 64 over 125. You can continue like that, but we can make a mistake. That's why it's not so good to go with this approach until you reach your value. You can do that, but it is not a very good approach, as you can make a mistake. You can continue if you want. 256 over 625, the values continue like that. 1024 over 5 to the power 5 was found to be 3,125. Then finally plus the 4,096 over 15,006. What did we have? 625. So when you add these, you're still going to get the same answer, but you can make a mistake with that. So it's better to just go like that. So let's look at our next question. Not this. So if you have something like this, it has got a power and it has a number without a power, just know that most of the times it is neither a GP nor an AP. So you just have to add. So this can be split as, so to make your work easier, so this is what we do. The summation from 8 to I is equal to 3. You are going to say 2I squared. Then you have plus your summation again. You can just start replacing it, it's okay, but this makes your work easier and it prevents you from making a mistake. Of the same limits, we have I is equal to 3 and 8, which will be equal to, we have I like that. So we have split this. So by doing that, what are we going to have? So we are going to get our 2I squared plus this value. What are we going to get? We are going to get a value. So these two can be thrown there. If you want, you can replace, but this makes your work easier. 2 summation of 8 I is equal to 3 for I squared plus 8. So the summation 8 I is equal to 3 for I. Then do your math now. So we have 2. So beginning at 3, we are going to have 3 squared plus, until you reach 8, 4 squared plus 5 squared plus 6 squared plus 7 squared plus 8 squared. So meaning if you had to add plus that in, it could be a bit of a mistake, or there could be a mistake. So we have this value. So this value, then we have plus our 8, or here we are going to have our 3 plus 4, we are just replacing here, plus 5 plus our 6 plus our 7 plus our 8. This gives us 2 by 3 squared is 9 plus 16 plus 25 plus 36 plus 49 plus 64, like that. Then we have plus 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 5, that will be 12, plus 6, that will be 18, plus 8 plus 18, that will be 26, 26 plus 7, that will be equivalent to, okay, so let's do it again. So we have 7 plus 8 is 15, 15 plus 5, that will be 20, plus 6 is 26, plus 4, that is 30, plus 3, that will be 33. So this is what we have. So we have 2, so we are just adding systematically. 9 plus 6 is 16 is 25, plus 25, that will be 50. 50 plus 36, 50 plus 36 will give us 86. So 86 plus 64, that will be equal to, we have a 0, remainder 1. 8 plus 6, that will be 14, plus 1, that will be 15, 150. So this will be 150. So plus the 49, which we haven't added, plus the 33. So we are going to have 2 by 199 plus our 33. So 199 times the 2, this gives us, so we have 18, remainder 1, 18 plus 1, that will be 9. This times this will be 2 plus 1, it will be 398. So we have 398 plus the 33. So if we add 33 plus 398, it will be a 431. So that is the sum. Let's look at our last one. So same approach. Our last one is not different. So we have our 7, I is equal to 4. For the equation 3i squared minus 2. This gives us a value that is equivalent to, same approach, summation 7, 4, I is equal to 4, 3i squared minus 2, 3i squared minus the summation of I is equal to 4, 7, 4, 2, like that. So just be careful on the limits. So here, if it is a pure number, throw it out like that. So we have this 3 goes there. So we have 3 summation of, we have our 7, 4, I is equal to 4. Then we have I squared like that. Then we have minus, this 2 comes here. So it will be 2 summation of our 7, our I is equal to 4. Then we have our 1 like that. So 1 times 2 is still 2. So with that done, we are going to begin. So we have our 3, open brackets, we have I squared. So we are beginning from 4. 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared plus the 7 squared. We are done for that one. Now here is where we need to be very careful. So we have minus 2 times this 4. What are we going to do with this one? So this one, you look at the terms that are there. How many terms are there? We have 4 terms. So from 4 to 7, we know that 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. Then plus the 1, which is that's plus 1, so we have 4. So we have 4 terms. So we are going to multiply our number of terms that we have from 4 to 7 times this number. So we have times our 4 times our 1, like that. So this gives us 3. We have 4 squared is 16 plus 25 plus the 36 plus 49, like that. Then we have minus 4 times 2 is 8. So this gives us 3. Then we have 16 plus 25. We have, okay, let's add. So what do we have? We have, let's add systematically. So we have our 49 plus our 36. This gives us 9 plus 6 is 5, remainder 1. Then we have 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 1, that will be 8. So we have 85. 85 plus the 25. This gives us 0, remainder 1, 110. So 110 plus 16 will give us 126. So we write 126 minus our 8, like that. Which makes sense, because that means if you look at the summation here, that means 2 should be subtracted 4 times, because from 4 to 7 we have 4 numbers. That's how come it's 8 minus that 8. So we have 3 times 126. 126 times the 3, it will be 3 times 6 times 3, it will be equal to 8, remainder 1, 7, 3. So we have our 378 minus 8, which will give us a 370. So that is how we deal with the summation. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you would like, subscribe, and share for more. See you in the next tutorial.